Well, Turkey's finance minister, Albayrak, has unveiled a new 5-year national economic plan in just the last hour. Albayrak says the new plan will rein in high inflation and drop the current account deficit to 2.6% by 2021. He also says Turkey will create 2 million new jobs in 3 years.
Bugün sizlere açıkladığımız
Our program that we have announced today includes 3 main points. First of all is economic balance, followed by fiscal discipline, and finally transformation. This is a process. It's a framework that will start in many areas of our economy, and it foresees sustainability. We will first start the roadmap with balancing. Our GDP growth will be realized at 2.3%. And secondly, we will implement fiscal discipline. Finally, we have transformation. This means that each time we change policy, we should make sure we focus on the value-added perspective by focusing on growth in manufacturing and exports. And as a result of that, we will see new investment projects that will foster a gradual increase in value-added output in our country.
For more, let's speak to our senior business producer, Mobeen Nasser. Hi, Mobeen. So what has been the response to the minister's presentation? Will it give investors and the lira the kind of boost Turkey is hoping for?
Well, we've seen the lira has strengthened marginally today. It's trading 0.4% higher as yesterday. Of course, let's take a look at some of the steps that were announced here before we get to how the investors might react to it. I think the two main points that were discussed that should be on their mind. First of all, how the government plans to tackle its deficits. On that front, he has announced steps that will be taken to save about $1 billion between now and the end of this year. In terms of what the government spends, and also another $200 million that will be raised through additional taxes. That should help the government rein in its deficit, which has of course been one of the key concerns among investors and other stakeholders. Secondly, on the point of how to help the banks deal with the mayhem that's been played on their credit side because of the falling currency. On that front, the government is encouraging the banks to syndicate, work together to help borrowers so that they are able to meet all of their obligations. And then, of course, the announcement of strengthening the formal economy. They've set up a task force that will try to get more of the informal businesses registered and hence make them taxable and also subject to laws that apply to other industries. So those steps should, of course, give some level of confidence to investors. But of course, with everyone who's got their money sort of in the economy, the words are important, but actions, of course, trump those. And that's what they'll be looking at, just how well the government is able to implement these ideas.
And that will take some time. But meanwhile, growth forecasts have been revised downward, and at the same time, the government does expect to create some 2 million jobs by 2021.
Yes, in fact, that revised downward revision is perhaps more realistic given the current economic situation. But let's take a look at just how they're planning to generate those jobs. The government is hoping that growth will return to about 5% by the end of this 3-year period. And those 2 million jobs would basically mean cutting down the unemployment rate by 0.5%. Again, a more realistic target than before. The steps that they've announced, prioritizing export sector, prioritizing the development of more raw materials within the country, especially the stress on value addition. We know there are about 20 new biotech product plants going up in the country that should come online over the next 24 months or 24 to 36 months. So those steps should help generate jobs, but again, really contingent on growth being able to normalize back at 5% by 2021.